So recently I made a video about what could happen if you invested $1,000 in Cardano today. Now in this video I'd like to look at the earnings potential if you invested $1,000 in Cardano today. What's up? My name is Caroline and this is Wealth in Progress, where you'll learn how to make passive income with cryptocurrencies. Now passive income with crypto is clearly my passion, and that's why I'd like to dive into another Cardano passive income video today. So we'll first look at what Cardano even is, and then we'll look at the earnings potential, what you could make in the next couple of years just by investing $1,000 today and then earning passive income every year after that. Now, before we get started, just a quick word of warning. This is no financial advice. I'm no financial advisor. Now, cryptocurrency in general is very risky, so always do your own research and only invest money that you can afford to lose. Okay, now let's first look at what Cardano even is. If we go to their homepage, you can read here. Cardano is a proof-of-stake blockchain platform, the first to be founded on peer-reviewed research and developed through evidence-based methods. Okay, so this contains all the important parts. So first of all, it's a blockchain platform that works on proof of stake, on contrary to proof of work like Bitcoin. And one unique feature is that it is founded on peer-reviewed research and developed through evidence-based methods. So it basically puts research first, and all of their papers are peer-reviewed. Now, one of the great things about proof of stake is that it's much greener or much more environmentally friendly than proof of work. And that's why Cardano is often also called the green coin or the green crypto. Now, this article actually explains the difference between proof of work and proof of stake pretty well. So we can read here, its approach Cardano's approach doesn't require miners to solve complex equations, which uses up vast amounts of energy, like its crypto competitors, to order more digital coins to process transactions. Instead, the proof-of-stake blockchain values the volume of digital coins the user holds rather than taking into account the processing power of the rigs the miner possesses. So the difference basically is that validators in a proof-of-stake concept like Cardano, they just have to hold a certain amount of coins in order to be allowed to process transactions. The more they hold, or the more voting power they have from delegated staking, which would be what you and I could do to earn those 5%. We'll get back to that in a second. This determines how many transactions they can approve and therefore get a reward in return. Now let's look at a few reasons why I'm so bullish on Cardano and why this is one of my favorite coins. One of the reasons is that it hasn't even fully launched yet. So it's currently working on the Alonso upgrade or the Alonso fork, and that should be fully live by September. So you can see in that article, and that's actually the tweet from IRHK. And if we go here, you can see the roadmap. So let me just extend that. So that's the whole roadmap. So we're now at the end of June. So we're at the end of Alonso Blue. And then we'll go on to Alonso White and so on. And then in September, the Alonso mainnet should go live. Now, I'll leave that link in the description so you can read that for yourself. But if we just go a bit further, you can see what they do in the Alonso Blue right now. So that's basically setting up the testnet so that they can prepare for the launch. So you can just imagine what could happen to the price once it fully launches and once smart contracts can launch on top of it. So we're really at the very beginning with Cardano, and I'm very excited to look to see what happens over the summer with the Alonso fork being fully released and updated. Another reason is that they like to work with whole countries, especially in the developing world and even more specifically in Africa. So they've already secured deals with Ethiopia and Tanzania. And as of recently, their Director of African Operations, John O'Connor, mentioned that they're working on another collaboration with another African country. Now, things like this is huge, because if you imagine a whole country using this technology for different reasons, so for instance for education or for mobile communication, but just imagine a whole country using this technology, this could be huge. And what you always have to keep in mind is Cardano should just be the infrastructure. It shouldn't be a means of currency. It shouldn't be the front project that you exactly work on. But what the idea is, it's the infrastructure. So you can imagine it like the back end of the internet. It's something you don't even realize that you're using. And then you can build things on top of it, like a browser. And then you would Google in the browser, but you wouldn't even realize what servers and what other things are in the back. And this is what Cardano is supposed to be. Along with Africa, Charles Hoskinson, the founder of Cardano, is also planning to visit El Salvador. So you might have read it that El Salvador accepts Bitcoin as legal tender as of September, I think. And now Charles Hoskinson wants to use this opportunity to spread the word about Cardano. So maybe El Salvador might start using Cardano as well. Now, the last reason I am very excited about Cardano's future is their insane scalability, or at least their aims to do that. So they're planning to be able to process 1 million transactions per second with their second layer solution called Hydra. So the idea is that Hydra has different heads, and each head can process 1,000 transactions per second. The idea is that each head is a staking pool, and then if you have 1,000 staking pools, that's 1,000 times 1,000, and that equals 1 million. Now, one thing I didn't really talk about until now is Cardano's passive income potential. So as I've mentioned earlier, Cardano is built with a proof of stake consensus mechanism. And the cool thing is that you don't have to run a staking pool in order to profit from that. But what you can do is you can do delegated staking. So that means you can just delegate your voting power to a pool. You still own your coins, and then as a thank you or as a reward for that, you earn about 5% per year. Now that's completely passively. You only have to stake it once. I'll have 2 other videos about staking that I'll leave on top of my head. So if you want to start earning, make sure to check them out as well. But once you've staked that, there's absolutely nothing you have to do, and you earn those 5% per year. So now let's look at what the potential of that is and how far you could get with just investing $1,000 in Cardano today, how much you could earn from that. Okay, so at the time that I calculated it, Cardano was sitting at 140. It's jumping around a bit. It's just been at 140 a minute ago, so we'll just go with 140. Now, if we calculate that, so let's say you invested $1,000 divided by 140, because that's the current price, you will get about 714 Cardano. So if you decided to invest $1,000 now, you'll receive 714 Cardano. Okay, so far so good. Now Cardano has a staking reward calculator, so you can just type in your Cardano holdings and then it will tell you how much rewards you will earn over time. Now it is a bit conservative, so it says here you earn about 4.6% delegation rewards. I've been staking Cardano for a while and I've always received about 5%, but it's always better to take the conservative route, and then if you receive more, even better. So we'll put that here in here. So we said that you will get 714 Cardano. And what you can see here, so this is 1 year. So 1 year is 73 epochs. 1 epoch is 5 days. So after 73 epochs, you're 1 year later. Okay, we started with 714, and at the end of that period, you're at 746 Cardano. Okay, so if you calculate 746 minus 714, that means you earn about 32 Cardano per year with that conservative estimation of 4.6% returns per year. Now, the cool thing is if you don't need that money, you can just let it compound. And that means you just leave your rewards in there and let it stack on top of your initial investment. So instead of having 714 Cardano in your portfolio to stake, you now have 746. And now you leave that for a year longer, and then you receive even a bit more. Because now your rewards aren't calculated on the basis of 714, but instead of on the basis of 746. And if you leave that in there for a couple of years, that can stack up quite substantially. So I found this compound interest calculator. I'll also leave that in the description if you want to do that for yourself. Now, this is with a dollar amount, but I'll just put in the amount of Cardano we have to see how much we would receive over time. Because what I think is really interesting is to look at a 10-year period. So let's imagine you held your Cardano for 10 years, you always received that 4.625%. Let's see what happens after 10 years. So my initial investment is 714 Cardano. Length of time in years is 10 years. And interest rate will take that conservative estimate of 4.6%. And then we can click on calculate. And what you can see now, in 10 years you will have, so that's not dollars in our case, but it would be about 1,200 Cardano. So you can see that here we're very well. The compounding effect will start with 714, and then each year it gets a bit more. And because the base amount, so for instance in year 4 we now have 854 Cardano as the base, and then 4.6% is calculated off of that, and that's why it increases substantially. Okay, so by now you know that leaving your $1,000 investment in Cardano over 10 years would end up giving you a holding of about 1,200 Cardano. However, that doesn't really say much just as that. Another thing that we need to look at is the possible price increase. I have 2 other videos talking about price predictions. I'll leave them in the description. But what we'll look at today is a very long-term price prediction that the Cardano community generally has, and that is that Cardano could go to about $100. Now keep in mind this won't happen over time, but over a 10-year period this is pretty realistic unless Cardano messes something up. But if it really becomes that base infrastructure and if it's used by countries as a whole, I think this is a very realistic scenario. So let's imagine you have your 1,200 Cardano and Cardano goes to $100. You end up with $120,000, and that's off of your $1,000 investment simply by having the compounding effect of earning passive income or because you stake Cardano. I think that's pretty insane if you imagine that you don't have to do anything apart from buying it once and staking it and then basically just waiting it out. But it doesn't stop there, because if you don't need that money and if you don't take anything out, you can still compound it, you can still stake it, earn passive income and make it increase even more. So now let me calculate that one more time in the Cardano staking calculator. So in 10 years time you would have 1,200 Cardano, and that would give you, so at the end you would have 1,255. So that means in 1 year you would earn an extra 55 Cardano, and at the price of $100 that ends up with $5,500 extra per year. That's still off of that $1,000 investment. You don't have to do anything else. If you stack that on top of it, it will increase even more. So we can, for instance, do that as an exercise with the compounding calculator. So what we could do, for instance, is just put in 20 years in here, calculate it again. And what you'll see is that it would go up to 1,755 Cardano after 20 years. By the time the price will have increased even more, if that all happens as we imagine it now, if Cardano is widely used. And as you can see, this could potentially, it's no financial advice, but it could potentially make you a fortune. Okay, so that's how much you would earn if you invested $1,000 in Cardano today. As you can see, the potential is huge. Now, we never know if it's really going to play out like that, because we don't know if Cardano will be that widely used and accepted as we hope right now. We also don't know if the price will increase to those levels. So there's still a lot of unknowns, but this is just, I like to have this as a thought exercise to see the potential. And if that pays out like that, your $1,000 could make you a fortune virtually. So if you have $1,000 lying around that you don't need, why not invest it into Cardano, have it staked and earn this passive income? Don't touch it for a couple of years and you will have some huge returns if that all plays out. If you have any open questions, leave them in the comments down below and I'll get back to you as quickly as possible. If you like this video, hit the like button down below, share it with your friends and be sure to subscribe. Thanks for watching and I'll see you in the next video. Bye!